I am a student from Eagle River High School. I am delighted about the progress we have seen with the plan to reopen our schools for K through 6th grade students. But let me be clear, the claim that we are reopening our schools is false, as half of our students have been cast aside for 4 more months. This means that for 20,000 children in your community, they will have no other option but to continue with virtual school, which devastates academics, depletes mental health, discriminates against those who do not have support or do not learn the same as us, and it is a program which has been deemed a failure. Why, when we have determined that this is not a healthy and safe learning environment, we have accepted that reality for our secondary students? As the leaders of Anchorage, you cannot be silent and leave the children of this community to suffer. It may not be your specific responsibility to educate us, but it is your responsibility to keep us safe. Forcing students to stare at computers from the moment they wake up to the moment they fall asleep is not safe. Hindering an entire generation from social-emotional learning is not safe. And keeping adolescents in isolation when they live in the state with the highest suicide rate is not safe. Saying that you want us to return is one thing, but advocating and creating action for those who do not yet have a voice in this community is what matters. As I stated last night on the joint meeting, thousands of our high school seniors are about to become independent citizens in this society, and you will choose what state they join in. As members of this governing body, you must ask yourselves, will you allow the quality of our education to sink further into 50th in this nation? Will you allow the gap in education to be defined by who has money to pay for the private schools which are open? And will you follow the science and prioritize safety, or will you allow fear to decide the future of thousands of students? This body must come together and stand up and protect our most valuable assets, our children. You must listen to the science, which concludes that schools are safe, and you must be firm in your position to the Anchorage School District that all of our students deserve a safe place where they can obtain a quality education. As Ralph Waldo Emerson once posed, how much of human life is lost in waiting? The answer to that question will be decided by this assembly. So I hope your actions correlate with what you know is right, so you can look back at this moment and live with your decisions. And I would just like to thank you all for your time and for allowing us to have a little bit more testimony, but I think you should hold everyone's voices in this audience to an equal appreciation, and even the school board guarantees 20 community members to speak at their meetings. Why can't the Anchorage Assembly do that? Thank you.
Well, again, Anchorage is under an emergency mandate. The students in this city continue to suffer and struggle with online school. This assembly has failed to advocate for the return of in-person school across the district, despite wide community support and scientific evidence showing that this is safe. With the ASD's new plan for returning students to school, high school students will not be allowed to return until the final quarter. This is not only going to harm students mentally, but academically. With already some of the lowest test scores in the nation, high school students in this community are continuously being put at a disadvantage compared to students in the lower 48. This offers even more reason as to why you as members of this assembly must put aside political views and support the students in this city. For myself, this is my senior year, and our education system has failed me to provide an adequate education. However, this is not the fault of my teachers. They have done everything in their power to be supportive and helpful in this atrocious display of a failed group of bureaucrats. As a student, I can say it is much easier to achieve better grades online. However, that does not come with the attainment of actual information, as the amount of knowledge I've obtained, it is little to none. Because of this disappointment, I'm here to ask you to advocate for your students and push for the reopening of all schools. As I said in the most recent school board meeting, FDR once said, "We have nothing to fear but fear itself." It is crucial that you as leaders of this city do not allow fear to control the decisions you make. Fear is something that results in cowardice, and cowardice results in failure. With the posterity of children in this city at stake, you cannot sit silently while you fail the students of this city. So it is time for action, not cowardice. I would like to share an excerpt by Chief Justice Warren in the Supreme Court case, Brown versus the Topeka Board of Education. Quote, "Today, education is perhaps the most important function of state and local governments. Compulsory school attendance laws and great expenditures for education both demonstrate our recognition of the importance of education toward the democratic society. It is acquired in the performance of our most basic public responsibilities, even service in the armed forces. It is the very foundation of good citizenship. Today, it is a principal instrument in awakening the child to cultural values, in preparing him for later professional training, and in helping him to adjust normally to his environment. In these days, it is doubtful that any child may be reasonably expected to succeed in life if he is denied the opportunity of an education. Such an opportunity, where the state has undertaken to provide it, it is a right which must be made available to all on equal terms. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for participating.